The gaming industry is using big data to keep gamers engaged, thus making more money and optimizing the current online gaming experience as well as advertising. Some of the examples are cloud gaming, live streaming, non-monetization through freemium charges, as well as downloadable content. In this presentation, I will highlight examples of the numerous ways in which big data insights are applied in the gaming industry. I will review these examples and determine whether they are a success or a failure. In 2018, the video game industry reached $43.4 billion over various formats. These formats consist of console, PC, mobile, VR, and handheld gaming. At this point, there are 2 billion video game players in the world. In the United States alone, the video game industry is bigger than Hollywood. The gaming industry makes $20 billion in annual revenue in the United States, while the movie industry makes $8 billion in movie tickets. Suffice to say, they're swimming in money. The gaming industry is using big data to keep gamers engaged, thus making more money and optimizing the current online gaming experience and advertising. Big data consists of the 3 V's: volume, velocity, and variety. In terms of volume, the volume of data matters. With big data, you need to process high volumes of low-density data. An example of this is the gaming digital distribution service Steam. Daily, there are up to 47 million people playing on Steam. Velocity is measured in speed in which data is received and has an action. One example of this is the Oculus Rift VR headset that allows virtual reality in gaming through the Steam service. There needs to be fast speed for your actions to reflect in whatever game you're playing. Variety is in many ways different types of data that are available. A good example of this are the many games available on Steam for purchase. In terms of the gaming industry, one of the biggest is Microsoft. Microsoft is the creator of the Xbox platform and system. By making purchases such as Minecraft for $2.5 billion because they've realized the importance of big data in the long run and need a focused forward. Fortunately, gamers leave a massive data trail when they play a game, whether it's online socially connected through Steam, Epic Game Store, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and mobile. Gaming creates massive data trails and streams about everything you do about your gaming day, such as how long you play, when you play, with whom, and how much they spend on virtual downloadable content and whom you chat with. There are currently 2 billion gamers, which equals 50 terabytes of data a day. Out of those 2 billion gamers, there is around a terabyte a day of gaming data for AAA games, multiplayer games. Social games make up around 150 gigabytes of data a day. EA Games hosts around 2.5 billion game sessions, 50 billion minutes of gameplay a month. Speaking of EA, Electronic Arts is the 3rd most valuable video game company in the world, and they have embraced big data into practice. Say there are players of a game are losing virtual lives frequently and naturally, the frustration will force them to quit the game. Analysis can show where adjustments could be made to create a more engaging, immersive, and everlasting player experience. Another example is that if a player is engaged with another player over voice chat, they tend to play for longer hours. Analysis determines which features of the game encourage users to communicate more often so they can play more often. This approach keeps gamers hooked, for better or worse. Valve is responsible for award-winning games such as Half-Life, Portal, Left 4 Dead, and Dota. They have long been regarded as the technology pioneer in the gaming world. Valve uses deep learning to prevent fraud in its games and detect cheaters by using data analytics. Counter-Strike has long been considered the most popular online game on PC. It is a competition between two teams of 5. Valve collects user data up to which guns the team chose, how their behavior changed during the game, how they killed, and how they died. They fine-tune the game constantly for balance to make sure no particular team is overpowered because of the game design. Through big data, they produce a fairer game with a greater balance between teams. One of gaming's biggest successes in terms of big data is live streaming. Gaming has always had the potential to be a social enterprise. Because of the growth of live streaming, we're witnessing this to the next level. Live streaming has created celebrities of the world of gaming. In January 2018, Business Insider reported Tyler Ninja Blevins earns $500,000 each month for streaming the online game of Fortnite. Even though data is incredibly important, good data will not always guarantee good decisions. The only roadblock has been gaming monetization. Based on all the data, targeted in-game products can be offered that have a high conversion rate. Much like how e-commerce websites where products were recommended based upon what other consumers purchase, this is done in the video game industry with virtual products. This is called downloadable content. Certain features such as a new character skin, new levels, power-ups are recommended to consumers who purchase a game. They are called microtransactions. This results in an increased upsell or sell cross-ration for additional revenue. Monetization has been here since 2015 with the launch of the Xbox 360 and the launch of the 7th generation of gaming consoles. The freemium game model was implemented originally through mobile gaming. Freemium stands for free to play. Freemium is the business model that lets players use games, software, or media free of charge, but there's a catch. Freemium charges use with premium charges for additional features. Gamers do not initially pay, but through playing the game, they add more levels, power-ups, additional content through those microtransactions I mentioned previously to enhance their experience to give them a leg up on players. And this is often considered pay to win. When you think about how a typical person approaches a video game for the first time, it seems easy. Modern games are installed. You look over options and you play. The ability to sit down on your chair or couch, pick up a mouse or controller and play. The ability to sit down on a couch at the end of a busy day, pick up controller and play any game on the market is taken for granted. There are people who have certain disabilities. 92% of people with impairments play video games, and there are more than 33 million gamers with disabilities in the United States alone. Accessibility is the concept of whether a product or service can be used by everyone, however the approach. Accessibility laws exist to aid people with disabilities, but designers should try to accommodate all potential users in many contexts of use anyway. To do so has firm benefits, notably better designs for all. Video games, even now, are unbending in accessibility in a society that, in the context that stresses the importance of inclusion. This issue plagues video games specifically, but has a direct parallel with the accessibility of other, more tactile products such as tabletop titles and the overlap between apps and designer board games. There are 5 ways in which big data can help accessibility in video games in a positive way. The first is accessibility from the start of game development. Games such as Way of the Passive Fist were tailor-made for this type of accessibility. Players can remap every control in the game, adjust difficulty levels, and give players an option to play one-handed. The second is adapting game controllers to enable people with mobility issues to play games. A perfect example of this is the Xbox Adaptive Controller that was released last year in 2019. The creator, his name is Spencer Allen. The controller allows players to connect switches, buttons, joysticks, and mounts to customize the controller for each player that suits their needs. The third is a change in styles from a standard type of experience to one that is more fluid. Everyone is different, so everyone should have a personalized play style. The idea is to increase the number of different people who play video games by adjusting per player. By allowing all players to change the experience, players are accessible in a much wider audience. A great example of this is Celeste. It has an assist mode. There are options that allow players to become invincible, have unlimited dashes, and even slow the game down so you can find time to think. The fourth is that gaming organizations start embrace accessibility. Large video game companies such as EA and Activision are creating accessibility portals for support and diverse needs of disabled gamers. Current top contender for Game of the Year in 2020, The Last of Us 2, has revolutionary accessibility options. Blind gamer Steve Saylor received an early copy of the game. He states that The Last of Us 2 is the first time we have seen a game where every piece of text on screen had text next to the speech. Anyone without visual impairment could close their eyes and be able to play the game with the setting turned on. And the fifth is continued plans. Video game companies' accessibility developments are happening at rapid rates, with gaming companies constantly hiring advocates. With gaming becoming the most profitable entertainment medium in the world, video games have become mainstream. And with this mainstream appeal of video games, all of these factors of accessibility are being used through big data. Upon examination, big data has and will be essential for gaming during this current generation and beyond. We have learned about the importance and impact of big data on the video game industry, the strengths and advantages of big data. Where has big data missed the mark in terms of video games, and how to approach them moving forward? This presentation discusses the importance of big data so that people with special needs can still find a way to game. So we all can still game. The idea of gaming in 2020 is impossible without big data. In the future, a great place to look up and to do research on big data is streaming services. If you have never seen or heard of the word Twitch, there's Twitch, there's YouTube. To fully understand the extent of big data and gaming, then just go to Twitch and just look at the amount of people who are watching and play video games. There are more people daily who watch other people stream video games than watch television. The great thing about big data in gaming is that it is technology for the most popular entertainment medium on the planet. As we approach the end of this current console generation, we see companies like NVIDIA and AMD in constant competition with one another to see who is going to get the upper hand. The chips that NVIDIA and AMD make will have impacts on our newest platforms that will be released later on this year. Those two platforms are the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, and we're going to learn about the next step in PC gaming by looking at the 3000 series cards. With the inclusion of ray tracing in games, we are seeing more ways that big data will help propel the gaming industry moving forward. I'm Alvin Cologne, and I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. Have a fantastic day.